It's Chris from LazyLemming.com, and it's about 2 in the morning, and I'm wide awake. I have no intention of going to bed until probably around 12 in the afternoon or so because of my new graveyard shift. So I thought I'd film a video for y'all. Hence the Red Bull and beer. So, originally this Sunday, Activision was supposed to reveal the new Call of Duty. And somebody decided to leak images and video of it. And by somebody, I mean Activision. Somebody at Activision. Probably Activision themselves. But somebody definitely at Activision that had access to this stuff. And Activision decided to go ahead and just say, alright, midnight, whatever time it was, a couple hours ago from when I filmed this, but this will be a good time to reveal it. Terrible time to reveal it, but they kind of had to. They kind of had to just throw the trailer out a lot earlier than they wanted to because it was already out there. Kevin Spacey's in it. Kevin Spacey, from many of you with a Netflix subscription would know him from House of Cards. And he's also in American Beauty and other things. But one of the first things I noticed when I was watching that trailer was that he looks so wooden. He looks like Kevin Spacey. I didn't know he was going to look like Kevin Spacey because there's been people like Kiefer Sutherland who have been in Call of Duty games and they didn't look like Kiefer Sutherland. But this guy looks like Kevin Spacey, a low poly version of Kevin Spacey. Like his eyes, they're those dead eyes you see in sports games and just video games in general. Like, we've come a long way in terms of facial animation. You can really see it around the time Half-Life 2 Episode 1 and Episode 2 came out, especially with Alex, your NPC friend, that sexy babe. She had emotions, but we've gone even a lot further. You can see it in games like L.A. Noire and etc. But you don't see it in this trailer. Kevin Spacey, he delivers his monologue in the trailer great, fantastically, and his eyes still look dead. That's not his fault. That's the fault of aging technology, because it looks like this new game, which is called Advanced Warfighter. We'll get to that in a second. But it looks like this game is still running off of a modified engine. The same engine that they've been using since, I believe, Call of Duty 2. That first came out when the Xbox 360 first launched. It's been a long time. They've been using that same engine for a long time. They've just been upgrading it and modifying it. Meanwhile, the Battlefield guys have started from scratch and made new engines, and it shows. There's big differences between these two. Now, I will grant that this new Call of Duty looks better than last year's Call of Duty, just because it's probably going to be on less platforms. They didn't announce which platforms it's going to be on outside of the Xbox One and the Xbox 360. They just said other platforms. It's safe to say that it's going to be on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 3. I don't know if it's going to be on the Wii U. You never seem to know with the Nintendo consoles, because the last two times they released a Call of Duty game, they announced it very late for the Wii U. I hope it hits the Wii U, because Nintendo is sorely lacking in this area of first-person shooters, period, because Nintendo used to provide these games when they lacked, like with companies like Rare and Silicon Knights, and, well, Silicon Knights didn't make first-person shooters, but they filled that kind of void. And so I hope that it comes out for the Wii U. But we don't know. We won't know probably for a long time. I'd say summer at the earliest. Maybe June during E3, but history says no. Anyway, back to the title. It's called Advanced Warfighter. And that's because I believe it takes place in the future. I believe so. It's all about PMCs, which are private military groups, or private military companies, I should say, which is pretty much if you don't know, soldiers for hire. And that's the general theme about this game. Kevin Spacey is kind of this intellectual bad guy, is what I'm gathering from the trailer. And he's all about, I'll let you watch the trailer yourself and come to your own conclusions about it. But the series has totally jumped the shark. It's just gone off the rails. This game is being developed by Sledgehammer Games, and this is their first Call of Duty game. It's been rumored for a long time that they were making a new Call of Duty, and this is the first proof that they are. And what's going to happen now is that Infinity Ward, Treyarch, and Sledgehammer Games are going to be now on taking turns. They're going to have 3-year development cycles for these games. So I guess the teams won't be crunched to make a new game so quickly. They'll have an extra year to map things out. But at the same time, there's still Call of Duty factories. Activision has 3 Call of Duty factories working on Call of Duty games and DLC and yada yada yada. I'm sure these people want to make something else at this point, especially Infinity Ward, especially Treyarch. Treyarch used to make a lot of different games. Now they got too good at making Call of Duty because a lot of people now prefer Treyarch to Infinity Ward. And now Sledgehammer has to prove themselves the same way Treyarch did. Anyway, I'm rambling. Like I said, this series has jumped the shark. And by jump the shark, they've jumped the shark. It's just totally, it's totally crazy. If you watch the trailer, there's hover bikes and people are jumping super high and exoskeletons, and it's nuts. But I think that's a good thing for this series because not just because of the success of Titanfall, because that game's all about, jumping high and just doing crazy things you really couldn't do in a modern warfare setting. It's just fun. It's just fun, and that's what I'm looking forward to seeing. Of course, balance is what really it's all going to come down to, whether or not the multiplayer is fun and balanced, which apparently Call of Duty Ghosts failed to do. And that's just kind of been Infinity Ward swinging and missing twice in a row now. But, wait, was that Infinity Ward or Treyarch? I don't know. Just Activision in general. Call of Duty series swinging and missing. But, oh yeah, that was Infinity Ward. They had Modern Warfare 3, and then they had Ghost. Okay, so, yeah. Somebody needs to let Infinity Ward do something else. But, yeah, the new one, just from the little trailer we saw, I mean, this was all story, because you know how they like to do their multiplayer reveal later, but assuming that things like jumping high and maybe even hover bikes enter their way into multiplayer, this game could be fun, and that's all I care about. I don't really give a shit about the story. Nobody ever has given a shit about a Call of Duty story. If you have, you're just probably kind of a boring person to me. I mean, I'm just, spouting off my judgments at 2:30 in the morning while I drink beer and Red Bull, but the stories have always been convoluted and not very interesting. But Kevin Spacey delivers a good monologue in it. But really the multiplayer is where these games shine, so if the multiplayer is as fun as the single player, if it has as many fun elements as the single player shows off, or even half as many, it could be pretty fun. And I think that's good for this series. I want to know your thoughts, though. Do you think that exoskeletons, hover bikes, and invisible ships are a good thing for Call of Duty? Do you think that they've just gone too far off the rails? Do you really prefer something more realistic and foreseeable in the immediate future? Or do you want them to go back to the World War II era or another era? Because that's where these games started. That was their roots, but they've gone far from that, and they kind of have to, especially when they release a new one every year. They got to find some ways to keep it fresh. But I want to know your opinion. Let me know in the comment section below. If you haven't already, please subscribe for more. Got a comedy channel. You should check that out. Very funny stuff. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.